Well, I say humongous in I guess relative term. It was much larger than the ceiling way up here. Much larger, and you could walk into it. And inside of that was an Indian figure that was holding a. It looked like it would be Mary, but it was actually the goddess Diana. But it was the only goddess Diana. It was holding it up, and it was kind of just looked like it was suspended, but there was something underneath it, suspended in the air underneath there. And they said, you know what, folks? They said this place is abandoned now. It used to just be where people would come and worship, and they'd worship their own gods and things like that. But now it's a place of animal sacrifice and devil worship. They had a fence around it, guys. They would let us go in, but they had a fence around it. And there was no graffiti on it, but they said if we don't watch this, if we don't put guards on this at all times, they'll have people in here and they'll be sacrificing animals. They'll be sacrificing animals. They'll be cutting animals. They'll be running around cutting themselves. And this is today. This is 2010, but this was just about 10 years ago. This is the year 2000, folks. Folks, we're talking about times where the world has its own gods. America acts like they don't have any false gods, but they have so many gods. They have so many gods. You can get down and dirty and even say sometimes our family becomes God. As long as my family's comfortable and we're having a good time and we're doing our thing and I'm spending time with this one and this one and this one, which those things are important, when we start making them God over God. When we start saying time with God will take second place, time with my family will take first place. When we start saying God is going to take second place to anything, we make it a God. But we have a God of reality. My portion, the portion that I've been given, is that the world offers us all types of things to make us comfortable. But only God can truly comfort. God can take the place of anything. God can take the place of anything, but nothing can take the place of God. You see, you got a hobby that you love to do. You got a hobby you love to do. You say, I could never give this up. I could never, ever, ever give this up. Folks, I just heard this morning, my oldest son, he says, I'm addicted to Facebook. My son, y'all know how I talk about it. But I noticed it was on the computer. I said, whoa, 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 who's on this junk? Like he was on some kind of a porn site or something. I said, no. I said, who's on this junk? And he said, I was on it. He said, don't you understand that everybody I talk to says they're addicted to their Facebook? Folks, let me tell you something. There's nothing you're addicted to that God can't take the place of. You said, look, listen, hey, when I was a teenager and young adult, alcohol was the thing. Alcohol was the thing. Folks, let me tell you something about alcohol. Alcohol is a slow killer. It's going to kill you. It will kill you. I had a buddy of mine. His name, we called him Boozer. His name was Michael Boozer, but he sure enough boozed it up. He drank a good guy. Talked to him about Jesus. Scott knows who Michael was. But he'd come to work, and every time he left work, nice guy, worked hard. But every time he would leave work, he'd have to get him some of this stuff. And folks, I'm gonna tell you something. One day, he didn't even know anything was wrong, folks. It was on the weekend. He was getting ready for a football game. He was gonna watch it that weekend. He always got in the pools, and he'd win him some money in the football pools. But he was 41 years old, and he got kind of sick of his stomach. What in the world? I'm gonna sick him. And it got so bad they put him in the hospital. One day later, he was dead from cirrhosis of the liver. One day. Folks, let me tell you something. God can take the place. It's your portion. You slice that little piece of pie and you say, world, you can have your portion. I got my portion. And it's building up, folks. He can take the place of alcohol. He can take the place of drugs. He can take the place of your addiction to pornography. He can take the place of your addiction to anything outside of His will. He can take away your addiction to affection. He can take away all that because He is the affection you need. He said, I gotta have this and I gotta have that. No, we only have to have our portion. Folks, God without God is still God, but man without God is nothing. God without man, He was God before we were here. Folks, let me see if I got in here. You were talking about something amazing. This is going to bore y'all to death, but I'm going to have a good time telling it. Good grief! I don't even have it here. I don't think. Wow, this may be it right here. Yes, it is. Folks, you know what? They found out. Let me start with the boring statement. They found out there are 3 times more stars than they ever thought there were. But they don't care. Okay, here's the thing. This is amazing. Listen to some of these numbers, folks. Listen to this. The universe may glitter with far more stars than even Carl Sagan imagined when he rhapsodized about billions upon billions. A new study suggests that there are a mind-blowing 300 sextillion of them, or 3 times as many as scientists previously calculated. That is 3 followed by 23 zeros, or 3 trillion times 100 billion. 3 trillion times 100 billion. Folks, do you understand? That's in every galaxy, and they say there are billions of galaxies. Folks, this isn't. We're just a speck. We're just a speck. It's like Horton Hears a Who. We're just a speck. Folks, we're nothing. We got this. We are a speck on nothing. And He cares about me. Folks, He created it all. They're 300. They're 306 sextillion. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what billion means because they use it in government so much. Oh, let me hand you a couple billion. Folks, let me tell you. Look, that's star after star. That's a star that looks like our star. That's a star that looks like our sun. It's everywhere. They're everywhere. They're scattered out. Do you know what? Let me tell you another fact. That'll put you to sleep, right? Just like this. Let me tell you that. They think their new estimate of stars. They figured out there's about 6.5 billion people on the earth. They figured out this is just somebody that has nothing to do. But they figured out that how many atoms, how many cells are in the human body. They said right now their estimate of the number of stars is just about identical to the number of cells in all the humans on earth. Can you think about that, folks? How amazing God is. And yet, He comes down to this speck, to Ryan, and He cares what Ryan does this afternoon. He created it all. It goes out there. You know what they're saying down here? They said, listen, it says, some of those galaxies have as many as 1 trillion to 10 trillion stars, not a measly 100 billion. When Van Dockum and Conroy crunched the incredible big numbers, they found that it tripled the estimate of stars in the universe from 106 billion to 306 billion. That's a huge number to grasp, even for astronomers who are used to dealing in light years and trillions. Folks, you know what they say later in the thing? They said that they got a problem. They suddenly got a problem. The more they go out, the more everything makes sense, and they know it has order, and it's not supposed to. It's not supposed to have order. It's not supposed to have orbits. It's not supposed to everything work just perfectly and everything aligned perfectly. They're saying they're having problems, and scientists don't like this new estimate of stars because it's messing with their minds. They don't get it. What they don't get is God is my portion. He is what's so great, and He is what created all of these things, folks. Listen, it's amazing to me. The more they find out in science, the more it points to God. You keep doing your science. I'm not against science. I love science. You keep doing it because what you're going to find out, you're going to trip over the truth. You're going to be walking right through that stuff, and you're going to trip right slap over the truth. Folks, we serve Him. We'll serve Him. We'll serve Him. As long as it doesn't make the devil mad, we'll serve Him. And listen, I'll serve you, God, as long as, and we'll tell her, I'll serve you, but man, I can't get involved in that. Last time I got involved in that, there was this, that, and the other going on. Folks, it's always going to be like that. Folks, today I'm just giving God praise. I'm just talking about God. I'm just talking about, listen, but we won't even serve Him sometimes because they make the devil mad. Because if the devil gets mad, he's going to come against you. He's going to come against you. If it makes Him, I won't serve Him because He's coming against me, and that means trouble's coming. And I tell you time and time again, and I'll tell you today, if you serve Him today, He'll come against you. I tell you to if you serve Him today, He's coming against you. If you've decided that somewhere in the midst of all this, you want to serve Him, and God bless you for doing so, understand the enemy's coming after you, and he will come after you with everything he's got. And the more you get in, at least if you're doing a Bible study in the morning, he's coming after you. Scott, if you're teaching or doing CDs or whatever you're doing with your teaching, he's coming after you. He's going to come after you. If you've decided to start a building ministry, if you decided you're just going to start keeping kids in the nursery, he's coming after you. He's coming after you. And folks, but we have a portion, the devil, and I told the guys Monday night, what's going to be so funny is in Isaiah, what it tells us about the devil is we're going to see him, we're going to say, is this the man that made the nations tremble? We're going to say, you got to be kidding me. This is it. You got to be kidding. This Isaiah teaches this. We're going to one day see him kneeling before Jesus. That's going to be awesome. That's going to be good. You finally see the devil kneeling before him, and he's having to profess that he's Lord. He's having to say it in front of everybody. And we're going to say, you got to be kidding me. It's going to be looking like a Tonka truck. You're like, what? That was it? That was the devil? That was who was messing with me? This is basically what we got, folks. We got a situation where we're not giving him praise for who he is. The devil's coming after you, but your portion is bigger. Your portion, what he's giving out to you is even bigger. It's almost as if you've walked into a room and they were giving out stuff and they said, here's your stuff right here, and they handed somebody a handful of nothing and they handed you everything. They handed them the world, the little old world, and they handed you God. And God says, you're mine. And I may have created all 100 billion galaxies. Who knows what's going on in 100 billion galaxies from here? Who knows? There are angels all over that place just worshiping God. There are stars here, stars there, stars everywhere, folks. It's an amazing thing. And when we sit there and we say, wow, how does this keep going, folks? Folks, I was listening to a song. Now listen, this is an old song we're about to play. But you know what? A lot of churches have sung it, but I mean, I'll sing the chorus. Handel's Messiah. It's the Hallelujah chorus. But then now I know Hallelujah, Hallelujah. I mean, I'll sing that and all, but I never ever really paid attention to one phrase in particular. This was, the first time this was sung. The first time this song was sung was in 1743. It